Hi, you just got through clicking on Cooking with Kian, and I'm Kian Young. Today we're going to be preparing a citrus spring chicken salad, which is fun, easy, and healthy. Share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I have a tradition that I always do, is I like to have a glass of wine before I even start cooking. And this is a Chenin Blanc by Garden Goustier, which is a Vouvet, which is very light, fruity. And with this chicken spring salad, we have our strawberries, our blueberries, our raspberries. We have balsamic vinegar, we have apple cider vinegar, we have honey, with olive oil, because we're gonna make our own dressing. And what that does is all those flavors is going to be able to mingle with this wine, with the Chenin Blanc. And we have a nice creamy cheese, which is an Irish doubler cheese that I love, and it's going to really complement all the flavors within this salad. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pour my glass of wine first, because like I said, I always start when I'm getting ready to prepare a meal with a glass of wine. And what I do is I learned this, have a chilled glass. What's better than a chilled glass? Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so excited. So with the spring coming up, I think this recipe is very simple, very easy, very healthy. It has a very mix of muscadine, different types of greens. It has romaine lettuce in it. And the chicken that we're going to season, we're going to make our own dressing. We're going to season that chicken. But first thing is first is my wine. Now I'm ready to cook. Okay, so right now we got our breast, and you notice something. We have the thickness on this breast is different from this thickness of this breast. And what I like to do is that when I always get a breast of chicken that's pretty thick like that, I like to go ahead and cut that in half. The reason I'm going to cut that in half is because when I get ready to saute it, put it in my pan, it's going to cook evenly. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and cut into that. Keep your hand above it. And then what you're gonna do before you even go through the halfway through this chicken breast, you wanna turn it upright, and you're gonna basically open it up and butterfly it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and continue to cut downward, get that opened up. Okay, so now we have 3 even pieces. So 2 breasts, 3 pieces, perfect. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and season our chicken. And what we're gonna do is I have some 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I love olive oil when I'm seasoning any chicken or any type of protein, because it allows it to tenderize the meat as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and coat my chicken very well. Okay. And then what I have here is a half a tablespoon of oregano. Put that over that. Turn it over. Put the rest of that. Okay. Next that I have is a half a tablespoon of thyme. Put that in there. Because with this salad, as you notice, we have blueberries, strawberries, and we have raspberries. This is a very spring type of salad. All these flavors, along with the cheese and the wine, is going to really meld together. And I want to go ahead and I want you to notice how the olive oil allows all of my seasonings to kind of actually spread throughout the protein and spread evenly over the product. So next thing I have here is garlic powder, a half a tablespoon of garlic powder. Okay, got that done. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a half, and I always continue to toss that over. The next thing we have is a half a tablespoon of onion powder. And as you notice, I didn't say onion salt or garlic salt. I think cooking with salt is, I allow our friends and our family and our guests to put their own salt on there, because everything has a lot of salt in it, so we want to try to minimize how much salt product that we're putting on our product. Okay. And last but not least, fresh ground pepper. This is a 1/4 of a teaspoon, and fresh ground pepper is very strong when it's freshly ground, so be careful how much you put in it. Okay, that's ready to go. Step over here, wash my hands. Okay, with romaine lettuce, what I like to do with romaine lettuce is I like to, open up, and you can also take romaine lettuce and put it in a large bowl or tub and wash it that way. But I like to make sure the water's nice and cold, and I run my hand down the vein of the lettuce, make sure it's nice and clean. Okay. And this salad usually is prepared, it takes about, it can feed up to 4 people, for friends and family. Tonight we're going to prepare for maybe two people. Okay. So that's all the lettuce the romaine lettuce, because I have another mixed green lettuce that I want to add to this salad. What I like to do with this, I like to set my romaine lettuce up. And the reason why I like to set it up like that is because I allow the water to run down the bowl. Use the contour of the bowl to allow the lettuce to run down, the water to run down, and let it set it off to the side, out the way. Okay, next what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and make our dressing. Okay, what we have here is 3 tablespoons. You have 3 tablespoons of your honey, olive oil, cider vinegar, and balsamic vinegar, and a half a tablespoon of fresh tarragon. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get the honey in there first. The reason why you want to go ahead and put your honey in there first is because you want to go ahead and get that all dissolved, because it's pretty thick. And this pure honeycomb is it's very strong in taste. But I love honey, and you can use natural table sugar if you like. That's okay. But I'm gonna use that. And that's gonna be at the bottom. So what I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and add my cider vinegar. And I wanna go ahead and get that. So the reason why I wanna get my cider vinegar is because I wanna be able to still see that my honey is not liquefied yet. I want to go ahead and stir that make sure that's get very loose. Okay, I can still see it's kind of thick now. It's starting to loosen up for me. Now I can go ahead and add in my balsamic vinegar. Okay. Now the trick to this dressing is just very simple. Is that the olive oil, you want to pour this in a stream as you're adding it to the dressing, and stir vigorously as you're adding it, because you want to emulsify that. You want the oil and that vinegar to kind of emulsify and gather. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add our fresh tarragon. Now with tarragon is has a licorice base. So if you're not really, keen on a very licorice base, you can use a little as much as you want to with that, and kind of like just make sure you kind of whip it and get that. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna put this in the refrigeration so it can sit for a moment, and then we're gonna move on to sauteing our chicken. Push it to the back. Let's pull out our chicken. And usually 30 minutes or more is better when you're marinating your chicken. We're going to step over here. We're going to take this olive oil right here. This is about maybe 1.5 teaspoons of oil. Cut up our pan. And one thing you don't want to do is you want to heat your pan up a little bit before you add your oil. And you never want to leave a pan sitting there and stepping away and not keep it in eyesight. Okay, so while that's heating up, we'll go ahead. Let me step over here. First of all, let me take a glass of wine. So good. So good. So now that our pot is pretty warm, we're going to go ahead and put our oil in there. And then you can tell that the oil is ready because it is running. Let me cut that down a little bit. Come over here, grab your chicken. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay. So while that is going, we're going to go ahead and get our lettuce, our romaine chopped up, ready to go. So it should be drained by now. Remember, we cleaned our board already. I like to go ahead and cut the ends off. You discard those out the way. And then what I like to do is I like to make sure that the ends of the letter is not too brown, and if they are, you can just tear some of those pieces off. I like to go ahead and cut that down the center, flip it on top of each other, and do what is I call a coarse cut. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and, because I have some beautiful muscalin, different types of greens that I prepared earlier. We're going to go ahead and toss that in there. And we want to wait before we put our dressing on there, is because we want to make sure our chicken is done all the way. I'm just going to flip that. Go ahead and put some fresh strawberries in there. Some fresh raspberries. There's nothing better than fresh fruit during the springtime. And I like to get them when it's in season, because that way you really get to enjoy the freshness of the salad and really enjoy what the springtime has to offer. And especially when there's wine involved, you can't go wrong. Good wine, good wine. Go over here and constantly check our chicken. You gotta watch it sometimes, because when you put fresh herbs into, if you're cooking with fresh herbs or even dry herbs, they have a tendency to burn. So just make sure your heat is not too high where it will burn. Okay, so now that our chicken is done, it's over here resting. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and dress our salad. Let's go ahead and grab the dressing. Nice and pretty. Let's go ahead and throw just a little bit on here. And when you save a little bit for your guests, just in case they want to try a little bit extra or a little bit less. You won't put too much on there for them. Go ahead and give this a nice toss to coat it evenly. I can smell the tarragon. It smells so delicious. Okay, put that. Now that our chicken has rested, we're gonna come over here and grab it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut this. Chicken is beautiful. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that on the salad. But what we did was I went ahead and I made a fresh one. So what we're going to do is you're going to add the cheese to it to complement your wine. And then if you want, you can add a little bit more raspberries, a little bit more blueberries, and a little bit more strawberries. And if you wanted to, you can add a little bit more, drizzle a little bit more of the dressing over top of it, and get that nice and to taste that, because that balsamic goes complements with the strawberries, okay? And then for an added touch, just take some fresh lemon and squeeze it right over top of that salad, because the citrus and the tarragon is wonderful together. And there you go, a citrus spring chicken salad. And this is the recap of all the ingredients. 2 pounds of skinless chicken breast, and for the rub, you'll need a half a tablespoon of garlic powder, a half a tablespoon of onion powder, a half a tablespoon of oregano, a half a tablespoon of thyme, and a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 1/4 tablespoon of fresh cracked pepper. For the dressing, you'll need 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 3 tablespoons of cider vinegar, 1/4 cup of honey, a half a cup of olive oil, and a half a tablespoon of fresh tarragon. And for the salad, you'll need a half a cup of raspberries, a half a cup of blueberries, a half a cup of strawberries, 1 head of romaine lettuce, and a pound of mixed greens. You just got through watching Cooking with Kian, and I'm Kian Young. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.